Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us. This is Leader to Leader, presented to you by LEAD Brevard, Brevard County's Leadership Development and Deployment Organization. I'm Geo Ropert, and I'm your host. I'm so happy to have you here today. Thanks for taking a little bit of time out of your lunch. Usually this is going live, and so you may still catch it during your lunch hour once we do the replay. But right now, Facebook Live is giving us fits and has been doing that for the last couple of weeks. So we're going to do this, and then we'll post it up on LEAD Brevard's Facebook page and also on their YouTube, so you can check it out. But Leader to Leader is a program we put together, and we're having great success with it. With the folks that we're attracting, we're just not having great success trying to get them out there live. But the Leader to Leader is brought to you every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday by Leadership Brevard. And what we're doing here is providing an opportunity for the leaders in our community to share some of the stories that they have, kind of what's going on in their world and how they're adapting their leadership skills and styles to the situation. A lot of folks are the work from home, the WFM, which, you know, for a few days it took me to figure out what that acronym stood for. I don't know why it did, but it did. But now that's probably going to be one of the top 10 in Webster's Dictionary of Acronyms for 2020, and hopefully not much longer. But we're glad that you're here. If you are working from home, if you are in your office and doing your social distancing, or maybe you're out at the park or the beach enjoying a beautiful day today, glad to have you here. And we are really excited today to have somebody who is a good friend and who is really somebody, the name you know is in the community, a long legacy, in fact, family legacy. His dad, Rodney, I will say, Dale, was one of my biggest mentors when I was first coming up here in Brevard County, and spent a lot of time helping me kind of get the rein in my hands around the whole thing of everything that was going on, especially when I ran for office back in 2001. Got a lot of help from him and Roger and some of the other guys there. So
I was a big fan.
Yeah, it was just absolutely awesome. And so my guest today is Dale Ketcham. He is the Vice President of Government Affairs and External Relations at Space Florida. And so if it has to do with space, this is the gentleman who knows about it and knows a lot about it. And so he's also a legacy in his own right. He was in the inaugural graduating class of Leadership Brevard that started in '85, and the first graduating class in 1986. So he's seen this organization come up from the very beginning when it was affiliated with the Chambers of Commerce, and now he actually serves as the board chair for LEAD Brevard. He's got about another month to go with that, but you know, thank you for doing that, Dale. And a couple of other things just to kind of give you some background on him, because again, so embedded in our community. He is a chair of Georgiana UMC Elder Board twice over the last 20 years, and serves on the boards, or served on, has in Circles of Care, Red Cross, Museum of History and Science, the National Space Club, National Space Roundtable. Very involved politically. In fact, he's the go-to guy for presidential campaigns when they need to get a handle on the space issues since 2000. And he has also managed campaigns for various city commissioners, Port Authority board members, local bond referendums, and 2 congressional races as well. So a lot of experience. The man knows his way around Tallahassee and Washington, D.C. like none other. Dale, thank you so much for being with me today.
Glad to be here, Gio.
Yeah, it's just great. We were talking a little bit before we started broadcasting here, recording, you know, some of the things going on in our community. But can you kind of share, I ran over and kind of got a little synopsis there, but can you give me some highlights of the career positions you've had, and especially as you've been involved with the space program?
Sure. Well, I wasn't born here. I was born in Miami, but my dad, I learned to walk on Cocoa Beach. My dad brought us up here in 1955, so I learned to walk on Cocoa Beach, and had the distinct thrill of growing up in Cocoa Beach with the original 7 astronauts, and then watched the entire evolution of the space program through the Mercury, Gemini, and Apollo. And then went to University of Florida to get my degree, and came back, and within a year I was working for Rockwell International, and have been involved in the space program either directly or indirectly my entire career. And if I was born in 1955, that's a wow.
Since almost the Mercury 7, huh?
Yeah.
It goes way back, and so you've made your name here, and it's a very just you've done such great work in really promoting the Space Coast, and I think you've seen a lot of the not only the upsides but the downsides of what we've gone through as a community with the various shuttle incident accidents
Yep.
and how that's affected. How did you see that? How did you feel our community changed when those things happened, and how they rebounded, and the leadership it took to get there once those things came about?
Well, both. I was out at the right next to the VIP site when Challenger blew up on launch, and that was pretty gut wrenching. And I think a lot of us left work that day going, well, we better brush up our resumes. I think the challenge that you have in both circumstances with Challenger and Columbia was because it's a spectacular failure on live television around the globe. And then Congress gets involved, so there's an invariable hunt for scapegoats and lots of political ugliness, but yet some engineers and scientists trying to root out exactly what the heck happened, what was the process failures. And those things are, you can see a sense of pressure from schedules and things like just human activity in large measure was a result of those failures, as they usually are. But you learn from them, and I think NASA, developed better technologies, better processes. Will we have failures in the future? No question. We're going to lose a lot more people in the exploration of space, but we're not going to stop.
Right, exactly. And how did you find yourself as far as the leadership positions you were put into, and what of your, I guess, strongest traits were put into play when you were dealing with these things, and even in your day-to-day now, what are the strengths that you bring forth when you're working with folks and issues like that?
Well, I guess one of the things I think is a strength of mine is knowing where my strengths are and where they're not. And there's more areas where I don't have them than I do, but I know, particularly in just the understanding of the political landscape in which the things that need to happen can best happen, and how do we adjust, how to create a political landscape so that the elected officials or the candidates are saying what needs to be said in order for the right thing to occur, either from a policy or a technical or an appropriations perspective. And if it involves I let other people's would best decide what should be the technical solution and the procedure. But then where I can come in and help is how do we create a political landscape where the powers that be want that to be what occurs. And that's not easy. It ain't rocket science, but it's not easy.
It's true. You're true with that. And well, you were probably a younger man when you went to Leadership Brevard. How did that impact your professional growth and kind of how you work these things that you just referenced to today?
I think the biggest advantage for me is obviously I'm one of those people that bloomed where I was planted. And so I've been here my whole life. I grew up, but Cocoa Beach was actually a rather insular place because that was really the hotbed of the space program. And Brevard County is a big county, and there was a lot going on in other areas. So the best advantage that I can remember distinctly from the first best class of Leadership Brevard was it gave me the opportunity to understand what's going on in north of Titusville and down into, Palm Bay and Malabar,
right,
and West Cocoa. So, and it more than just seeing what's going on there, it enabled you to develop a network of people you could call on who could articulate their perspectives which is essential if you're going to grow and become a leader who's able to really influence things. And particularly from my perspective, understanding the political perspectives with a small p of how things are going to be viewed in different parts of the county is how you're able to get the state and local representatives and the congressmen to understand why something is good and to help frame a question so the answer they come up with is the one you want them to.
There you go. Absolutely. That's great. Very insightful. And truly is. You know, that's one thing. I was a 2001 graduate, in fact, Kristen Baki's first class. And she's been here for almost 20 years now. And you know, just the things that I had no idea existed in Brevard County. Not only the physical, you know, we were at a ranch and looking at this huge Brahma bull that was out there.
Yeah.
Like, where did this come from? And how come I didn't know this? Down to, you know, understanding those community needs from north to south and how they differ. You know, with the various regions, as we are like almost like a tri-county region in one, and how it did work together and how it was disjointed, and looking at ways, and of course that fraternity and sorority of over almost 1,000 people that you can count on as you're a graduate. So something really great with that, Dale. Hey, as we kind of wrap up today, you've seen a lot of changes. You mentioned y'all are working remotely now and working from home. And how do you see leadership changing, especially for those like yourselves who got their hands in so many different things, used to being in an office with all the resources at your fingertips and that kind of stuff? What do you see changing in the dynamics there?
Well, I think all of us are adapting to a new way to do business. Regretfully, next week I'm going to be on my first Zoom meeting that should have participation in the hundreds.
Oh, wow.
So I'm really looking forward to that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was recently appointed to a U.S. Department of Transportation Commercial Space Transportation Advisory Committee. And we're having our first Zoom meeting next week. And that's scheduled to go for 7+ hours. And that's a long time on Zoom.
Wow. Oh, man.
But, you know, it is what it is. You adapt. We're responding. I think what we're focused on primarily is, you know, obviously first and foremost taking care of our people and our clients and the safety factor. But I think one of the areas where I'm trying to drive is the future is going to be a lot different than what we had ever anticipated. But let's not be passive in sitting there and seeing what happens. Let's get involved and shape it in this uncertain landscape. But we still have a responsibility to be proactive and drive it to a future that we want. There are opportunities in this crisis. Let's not overlook them to assure that our future is more resilient to deal with future pandemics and climate change and other issues.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's kind of given us an insight that we weren't necessarily, I think, looking for.
We didn't ask for this.
Yeah, we did. Smack in the face.
Yeah.
It really is. And it's, but we're learning and we're adapting, and, you know, we're smart people. We can do this and still get the results we need. And we're looking forward to May 27th, seeing that rocket go off with for the first time.
It'll be very cool.
Wow. I mean, I tell you what, I've been honestly a space geek since I moved here. I very rarely have missed a launch. And even if I'm over here on the mainland now, and I will, you know, if I know they're going off, I'll get in. I'm here, I'll walk outside, but I can still hear and feel the rumble probably 30 some miles away on a good day.
Yep.
So, you know, it does. So I'll go out there and I'll see the tail end of it going up, and still a thrill a minute. So
cool.
It really is. Dale, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on today, taking the time to join me and to share some of your insights, a little bit of you, and a little bit of what's happening here on the Space Coast.
Glad to do it. It's being a part of Leadership Brevard has been both at the front end and now at the tail end. Has been a great experience, and hope the county's better for it.
It truly is. Truly is. Well, folks, it's been a great time with you today. As you're probably going to be catching this on the replay. Unfortunately, as I had said at the beginning, we went live, but Facebook didn't. And so you'll catch the replay on LEAD Brevard. They'll put it up on their not only Facebook, but the YouTube pages. And we'll be back tomorrow. We're going to welcome our special guest, Gary Neal. We'll be here again at 12:15 p.m. Please tune in. And if everything works right, we're live. If it doesn't, you get the replay. And also, if your business or organization is interested in sponsoring the show, it does get quite a few views. In fact, the replays get a ton of views. Let us know. Give Kristen Bakke a call or an email. You can email her at kristen@leadbrevard.com or .org, I'm sorry. And then if there's anything I can do to help you, don't hesitate to contact me. Geo Ropert and Partners, our public relations and marketing communications firm, is at your service to help you grow your brand and increase your sales and make you famous. So again, it's been a great time with Dale Ketcham, just a tremendous guy, a tremendous community asset, if you will. I'm Geo Ropert, your host. Happy to have you here. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye. All right.